3 for 3. How far can Laj go? We'll see some tough games heading up. More action coming. Talk. Another night, another podcast.
Hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Quero o Benfica intimidar o adversário. Quero um manto sagrado entrar com vocês em qualquer estádio e assustá-los, pá! É isso que eu quero!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Doll Benfica Podcast. My name is Alfredo Fumacic. With you a day late this week. A couple of things going on, but we're here. Also here, Cristiano Oliveira. Como é que é, amigo?
What's up, Alfredinho? You did that opening right now a lot better than you did the intro. So I was worried for you for a second.
Struggling with that intro. Dave De Oliveira is also here. What's up, Dave?
What's going on, Alfredo? Good to be back on. Shout out to the Freddies. Freddies are more active this week already. Good to see them there, and we'll feed off them here tonight.
Yeah. All you gotta do is win some games, and the Freddies wake up.
Everybody wants to be part of a winning team, right? I say hello to the Freddies who have joined us on the chat here. Manuel da Cunha, Brunjil Rodrigues, Dan Infant from Down Under. Carlos Amaro. I haven't seen Carlos in a while. I thought that Carlos was angry at us or something. I don't know. Maybe you hurt his feelings.
The gynecologist is back.
The gynecologist.
I love Carlos. Carlos is my man. I love Carlos.
Sneaker Shots is also here, and Boris Negrorosa is here, and Cristiano Oliveira is also here. Anyway, we're all here. Yes. The gang's here. We're gonna give
shout out.
Yeah, big shout out.
Big shout out to everybody. Bruno, all the guys. Sneaker Shout out is my dude. Hope he's doing well. Boris, obviously, Carlitos. The one who Infantanan?
Dan Infant.
Oh,
Dan
time.
Infant. He's Dan Infant. And Pedro Duchamp is also from Central Coast, Australia. I got two down under mates. Two down under Freddies,
bro,
I should say.
That internet bill this month is going to be crazy. But nonetheless, yo, smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen, and let's welcome aboard, and let's talk about some positivity finally, man. Coisas at Benfica land, they're looking up. Carlos Amaro, you're not going to be too upset today because I think I'm leaving a lot of the criticism to the side today.
John 15 is also here. Midlife Crisis Rants. Greetings from San Diego. Wow. Chris, we're like Pitbull worldwide.
Chris's Rants. Oh, Crisis. I understood. I read it as
Midlife Crisis Rants.
No, I read it Chris's Rants. I'm like, wait, hold on. I got to get copyrights on that.
Yeah, anyway, welcome everyone.
Beautiful San Diego. Love San Diego.
Love San Diego, too.
First city I ever entered in the United States was San Diego. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But yeah, on to the next. Continue.
So welcome everyone. Certainly, I think that everybody's a little bit feeling a little bit uplifted by what has happened. Last time we were on the air, Laj has just been appointed. I think we played the first game, and things have been looking up. We had an international break, which will recap the game against Red Star, and we'll also recap the game against Boavista, which happened this past Monday. But yeah, I think that the spirits have been lifted. I know that there's some people that are still suspicious as far as what Laj can bring to this team or how far he could lead this team. But certainly it helps when you have the players playing in the right positions. And Chris, our friend Hugo, I remember our friend Hugo dismissing Kokshu, saying that he's a bum, he sucks, get out of here. I can't believe we paid that much money for him.
With that little comment of yours, you just gave me a huge headache tomorrow. I'm going to have to listen to this for about an hour.
But it's true. I got the texts, bro.
I'm going to have to get the whole rundown.
I got the texts. I got the texts, bro. I got the texts from Hugo, and I know that you have too. And the whole time,
big shout out to Hugo, because I told Hugo I was going to give him a shout out today. He's like, "Yo, you always say that." So big shout out to Hugo. But yeah, I think he's coming around. To be brutally honest, I think he is coming around. He's actually had some positive things to say about Kosoku. He's becoming a fan. He's becoming a fan.
Yeah, I mean, my whole argument, and I was hoping that was the case, that the guy was playing out of position. I mean, he was very vocal during last season that he was playing out of position. And you see the difference now when he plays in position. He's basically been the man of the match the past few games, if I'm not mistaken, against Red Star and now against Boavista, which is a guy that's really taken the reins of Benfica's midfield and really doing things. So I'm happy.
Yeah, for sure. This is more in line with the player that we all thought Benfica was acquiring when they purchased them from PSV, right? Or Fire? I don't even know. I was
Feyenoord.
But no, Feyenoord was yeah, was it?
He came from the same team as
Feyenoord was Arsenal.
He came from the same team.
Okay, so same team.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, this is the player that we all expected. He's still not at a level, that the $30 million price tag would suggest, but nonetheless, he's been a lot better. And I think the change of manager, not just him, but everybody else, you could tell these guys seem to be playing a little bit looser. They seem to be enjoying playing for Bruno Lage. I know it's still early on, but it's a totally different attitude. The one thing that I did find interesting, I know you guys want to talk about the games and stuff, but I did find interesting that I saw it from both sides. When I was watching the game against Red Star, in the post-game press conferences, I noticed the sneaky commentator trying to get in, trying to get it out of the players that, in other words, if things weren't well in the locker room prior to Roger Schmidt departing, right? Yeah. But the players, it looked like, I guess they took the course, which no, we were, not that we weren't happy before, we're happy now too. You know what I mean? I thought the players were very wise, and I thought the players was sneaky. But I did notice that the players went out of their way to say that, they've always been together, the locker room has always been aligned, and all these guys have never had problems. But that's fine and dandy, and that's exactly what they should be doing, and I respect them for that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can just tell by the play of this team. You could tell by the expressions of a guy like Kosu, who scored a couple goals last year, and you wouldn't see him with the smile that you see him now.
Yeah.
You can tell he's a totally different player, and it seems as if weights have been lifted off these guys' shoulders, and it seems like they're enjoying playing football.
Yeah.
Because Lage is kind of, I don't want to call him more offensive than Roger Schmidt, which his numbers do suggest, as I told you and Hugo in the chat. Bruno Lage has the highest goals per game average of any coach, of any Portuguese Benfica coach over the last 50 years. I guess that would suggest, obviously, right, that he is more offensive.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to say that Roger Schmidt wasn't when he had that brilliant start. If you guys recall, we were hammering everybody.
Yeah.
But the team kind of dropped off at the time. But now they're playing a little bit more free. You can tell they're enjoying playing for Bruno Lage. And that's obviously one of the players that stands out is Koksu's performances and that smile on his face with that huge grin on his face this weekend. But it's good to see.
Yeah, and the players have been also saying that with Lage, it's a more offensive, more vertical game. I've heard a couple players say that. But before we get into the first topic and discuss Red Star, I want to say hello to Adam Wynn. He says, "Hi, Hi all, I'm a Benfica fan from England and a long-time Benfica Podcast listener. I've never been able to join live due to it being too late in the UK. I'm traveling in Thailand, so it's a sensible time." Nice. Welcome
Adam. And I got a quick question for you, Mr. Wynn. Any relation to Wynn Resorts? If so, feel free to sponsor us and
I hope
see what you can do.
Yeah, I hope you're having a good time in Thailand. I heard it's an awesome time. It's an awesome time in Thailand. And Red Baron, we haven't seen Red Baron in a while, and he says,
careful.
Who spends
careful with the Adam Apple?
Right. Who spends 30 million on a player and plays him out of position all season? Our team does. Yeah. Everybody's joining. Manny Villadone, Jason Gaidola, Red Baron, Adam Wynn. it's good. Everybody's here. Adam Wynn says he's not related to Wynn Resorts. So anyway,
you got to hold on before you move on. You got to point out that Boris,
go ahead.
With the all breaking news, all important news of the night. I'm pretty sure that's why Mr. Wynn tuned in tonight, which is Benfica women were eliminated tonight, which is obviously bad news. That is not good.
Yeah, I heard they got complacent throughout the game, didn't put the game away, and then at the end, the Swedish team just wanted it more. So there you go. So
weren't they up though? Didn't they go into the second leg?
They brought a 1-0 aggregate, and I think that the Swedish team ended up getting that second goal in the 90-plus minute at Seychelles and eliminated Benfica, which is a little bit of a step back because last year Benfica was in the group stages. And the team was better last year, obviously, with Kika going out. But certainly, I think that Benfica needs to be in that group stages every year because that's money and it really supports the women's team. Anyway, let's get into the Champions League match day 1. Benfica traveled to Serbia to play Red Star. I'll give you the lineup. Truben was in goal. Bas, Silva, Otamendi, and Cajeres. Tinu, Rollheiser, and Kokshu were the trio in the midfield. On the wings, Di Maria and Artur Koglu, and up front, Pavlidis. Early goal by Benfica. Artur Koglu off of an assist from Ba. And in the 29th minute, Benfica would go up 2-0 off a Kokshu free kick, well-executed free kick. But here's the thing. And for us that have kind of followed the Champions League, we know that playing at what is it? They call it the Maracana?
Maracana.
The Maracana.
Serbian Maracana.
Yeah, it's never easy. And we've seen some teams struggle there because of the atmosphere. And certainly it was something that we anticipated as something that would go against Benfica was the atmosphere, not so much the skill of the team, because, I mean, the Serbian league is well below the Portuguese league, but certainly the atmosphere sometimes is something that could play a factor. But I thought that Benfica came out well. They had a very good first half. The second half, not so good. I think that the team felt a little bit of pressure. I don't know if it was legs or what, but we held on. We allowed a goal in the 86th minute, but for the most part, we were in control. We just weren't that persistent team that just scores and goes after the next one. But I thought that the team did well in the first half. I know that the game was, was a while ago.
Alfredo?
Chris.
You mentioned that it's a very tough place to play, right? The nerves and stuff gets in the way. But you know what helps with all that? Putting players on the field with Champions League experience and World Cup experience and guys like Otamendi and Di Maria's in this world, who a lot of people don't want to see anywhere near the starting 11. But I just figured I'd throw that in there. I'm sorry. It won't be the first time.
Of course it helps, right? I mean, you're talking about players who have played at some of the most adverse atmospheres. I mean, Argentina has played in quite a few stadiums that, that everybody is against them, obviously. But yeah, having players that have played at the international stage and in front of big crowds certainly helps. Red Star, I didn't think that Red Star was that great of a team, but when they have that crowd behind them and the crowd pushed them in the second half and they would eventually get that goal, But at the end of the day, it's a game that you need to win, and a team that's smaller than you, with a less reputation than you, that you need to win these games against them. Dave,
were you guys upset? Both you and Dave, please answer. Were you guys upset with the final result?
No, I wasn't upset. What about you, Dave?
Are you talking about conceding a goal late, Cristiano?
I'm talking about in terms of the opportunities that Benfica created in the first half. Going into the halftime with a 2-0 lead, were you guys ultimately let down by just by the final result being 2-1 and Benfica kind of having to hang on there in the last 20 minutes? Were you guys upset by that?
I would say no. Just I see where you're coming from. Obviously, you want to see them capitalize and score more goals with the chances that they created. But again, it's still early days with this new lodge system. Players still trying to get used to one another under this system. But yeah, 2-0 going into halftime. Obviously, you'd like to see a lot of more of those chances put away. But given the circumstance, given the venue where we're playing in, and how much that crowd can play a factor, I think it's a positive result.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a positive. I mean, I think you guys are taking my question out of context because I see here Carlos upset in a way. But no, I don't mean upset. What I should have said was disappointed due to the fact that you go into the halftime with a 2-0 lead and then you hold. And I expected Benfica to win this game at least 3-0.
Yeah.
After I saw that performance in the first half. So, yeah, I was a bit disappointed in the way that they played in the second half. Upset that they got the win? Absolutely not. A win on the road is a win on the road. And maybe I expressed myself the wrong way. But what I'm trying to is, like, I expected Benfica to have an easier time. I understand it's a tough place to play, but on paper, is a team that Benfica should beat.
Yeah.
Easily 10 out of 10 times. And so, yes, I was a little bit disappointed that Benfica didn't run up the score a little bit, understanding that it is the Champions League, understanding that games aren't easy. But nonetheless, Benfica created plenty of opportunities and did enough in the first half that led me to believe that they would extend that lead in the second half, and it did not. And then they held on, and that's what I meant in terms of disappointed.
Yeah.
And I used the wrong word and upset.
Yeah, I think that if I had to throw some criticism at this team, it was not as consistent in the second half as they were in the first. But come on, we're splitting hairs because at the end of the day, it's a hostile atmosphere, and we came away with the win. I think past years, maybe we get out of there with a tie if we're lucky. So it was good. It's good to get that Champions League started with the win. I don't know if you guys remember last year, we started with a loss against Salzburg. So. It's good to get that. Now you get the tough games. You got Atletico just next week around the corner, a week from today, and then you have other games that are harder. So it's good to get that win. What else, Dave? Stats on this game?
Yeah, first time Red Star has lost at home this year. Since they hadn't lost at home since December 2023 against Manchester City. So first time in 2024 defeat at home. And first time in Champions League history that 2 Turkish players have scored in the same game for a non-Turkish club, with Koksu and Artuglu getting those goals.
Yeah, that stat that you just gave, right, it piqued my interest last week prior to the game. I said, oh, man, it must be really tough. I mean, they haven't lost. They only lost. The last loss was Manchester City. Oh, man, this team.
And then you see who they've played against.
No. Then I went and saw the home games and all the rest of the group in the group stage of the Champions League, and they lost to practically everybody except one team. So they lost. Like, it wasn't even. I'm not even talking about the competition in their own league. I'm just talking about any adequate team, and they lost to everybody. I think they drew a game 2-2 at home. Other than that, they lost every single game at home. So, like, it just happened to be that Manchester City was the last one to do it because the team just did it a week ago.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a long stretch in between. So that stat is deceiving. Just wanted to throw it out there. That stat is very deceiving.
SLBEES says, to be fair, most teams up 2-0 at the end of the first half are going to take the foot off the pedal and save the team for the weekend.
I would disagree. In
this
new Champions League format, it's about goal. Those are tiebreakers.
But here's the thing.
Score goals.
The thing is that understanding that you were playing in a hostile environment, what you want to do is you want to come out the second half, score that third goal, put the game away, and then you manage. Then you manage the rest of the game. Because if you lower your lines and you allow a goal, let's say you allow a goal within those first 15 minutes of the second half, now there's a good chance that the crowd is going to get behind you and you're going to get motivated to go after the second goal. Thankfully, Benfica was able to defend well and be able to kind of keep them at bay because they're also not that great. But certainly, I would think that you go for that third goal and you put the game away and you get the crowd out of the game rather than having happen what happened with the crowd growing more supportive with each minute that went by. So,
and look, I started this gibberish by asking the question, and I expressed myself the wrong way when I said upset. When in terms I meant disappointed. But let's keep in mind it was Bruno Lage's second game in charge. The team is still trying to get it, trying to get adapted to his tactics and to his system. It was a win on the road, like as you said last year. We lost at home to kick off the Champions League. A lot of positives here. So by no stretch am I trying to shit on the performance, and by no stretch am I trying to shit on Lage and his men and whatnot. But I gotta be honest. You guys know. I mean, for you, those of you that listen to the Benfica podcast know how I am. I speak what I think, and I was a little bit disappointed. I was when I saw the 2-0 lead and the way that Benfica played in the first half. I said, okay, this game, is going to be Benfica will come away with this easy victory. I think they'll get to at least 3-0, and so to see them holding out for dear life towards the end, I was very surprised.
Yeah. Nonetheless,
but again, it's still a positive, Alfredo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave and guys, still
a win is always a positive. A win is always a positive, regardless. But yeah. So so moving on to Lage's third game in command against Boavista. Benfica traveled up north to play Boavista at the Bessa. Trubin was a goal. Araújo stepped in a right back as Ba was taken off the game against Red Star after a Red Star player stepped on the inside of his knee, creating
that was ugly.
A gash. And I forget how many stitches he got. I remember reading that he got like 5 or 6 stitches. But yeah, that didn't look too good. You could see right away that Ba was in pain, and from the step on it, there's I think that the skin. Well, I know skin was broken there. So Araújo was in for Ba, and again, I'm glad that Auschwitz didn't go back there. I haven't been impressed by Caboret at all. Boris said Caboret is a joke. In the back also Silva, Otamendi, and Carreras. Tinu, Auschwitz, and Koksu. So Auschwitz coming into the midfield. Rollheiser didn't have a very good game, or didn't have the best of performances against Red Star. So Auschwitz came in. Di Maria on one side, Artur Koglu on the other, and Pavlidis up front. Another game where Benfica came out strong. 11 minutes in, Pavlidis off of Artur Koglu assist. He went to the end line, crossed that in, and Pavlidis just let it bounce off his foot and into the net. 31st minute, Kokshu off of.
That takes a little bit of
reflexes
to the game, bro. You can't just say let it bounce. My man had to twist and
Yeah, you gotta aim.
That's a goal. Listen. The one thing about Pavlidis that I think we've seen so far, and looking at his goals that he scored in Holland and everything, is he's a finisher.
Yeah,
he is a goal scorer. You get the ball in front of the net, passing the ball, he knows how to put it in the back of the net. And just to clarify, because I mean, you make it sound like it was just a very simple goal, and I think players like myself, I could twist my body, I could do that, but like maybe a Cabral puts that over the net. You know what I mean? So
or a Seferovic.
Some credit. Gives the guy some. No, Seferovic scored 30 goals that year, man. My man, he's a hero. So no criticize Seferovic. But there's other players that would have put the ball in the back of the net, over the net and stuff like that. So credit to them. It wasn't just he just loaned his foot to the ball. It was a little bit more than that, Alfredo. Give him a little credit.
No, I give him. I thought it was a nice heads up, and it was bang bang. Yeah, I mean, didn't have much time to do much, and just position his body and make sure that turning his foot the right way, so if it hit his foot, it would go right into the net. But let me just say something about Boavista, and there's a narrative that the aunties are trying to paint, right? So Boavista's had financial problems. They're not able to sign players. They have some injuries. They brought in a lot of the juniors. As a matter of fact, their goalie was a 17-year-old kid because their other 2 goalies were injured in training. So there's a narrative that's being painted by the aunties that it was a young team and Benfica should have scored more on them and should have beat them up more. And I think that it was our friend João Gonçalves, Cristiano, that put the average age of Benfica's starting 11 and average age of Boavista starting 11, they were basically the same. And I don't have that tweet in front of me, but it was basically the same. So that narrative just goes out the window. But I can't say that I'm not impressed by the performance of the Boavista goalie. Parecia tiro ao boneco. I mean, he was saving things with his face, all kinds of saves. He just
the kid. Look, there is a little. Both things could be true, Alfredo. You know what I mean? The problem is in Portugal, everybody has to bitch and complain and compare and knock down everything that is not on your team, that you're not a fan of, or if it's not your team, you're going to criticize it. That's just the way things are in Portugal. But the kid was young. I mean, let's call it what it is. The kid was 17 years old, a very young kid. That if neither of the two, the starter and the backup, if neither of them got hurt, the kid would never be playing at this level. So it's okay to say that Boavista was young and that they had a very inexperienced goalkeeper. The inexperienced goalkeeper made a couple of beautiful saves, right? I thought he was badly beat on the Koksu goal, but that's just me. But it's okay to say both things without having to criticize anybody, without sitting here measuring dicks, because that's what everybody wants to do. If it's a Porto fan and the Sporting fan, even the Benfica fans do it as well. Bro, it's part of soccer. Unfortunately, they had the two first and second choice goalkeepers go down. Young kid goes in there. I'm surprised Benfica didn't take more shots from far away. I'm surprised they didn't take some more chances. But at the end of the day, Benfica did enough. They had to win this game. They won the game. It's a little bit different scenario than in the Champions League game, because I do believe that goals in the Champions League will become important at some point, we hope.
Yeah.
We're in the Portuguese Campeonato. Look, Benfica at this point is just trying to get the train on the tracks, get these back-to-back wins, start some momentum, and go from there. And I think it was an important victory. But again, Benfica played a lot of youngsters. They played some. Who cares, man? Benfica won the game. They did what they had to do. On to the next.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. And look, I think that the financial problems that Boavista has gone through last year with a lot of times, not paying the players, and they had a big sell over the summer, which sustained them a little bit, or they were able to get some of the creditors off their back. But certainly, not the best situation. And I anticipate that they're going to have a rough year because they're not able to sign any players. So they're going to play with the juniors, but when Sporting and Porto plays them, there'll be no narrative in terms of, it's easy. They're playing with juniors. They're playing with a young team, but we already know how those narratives play out. But
I don't pay attention to those guys. The one thing I did notice, Alfredo, I remember, if my memory serves me correct, you were at the game last year.
Yep.
And based on my memory, the stadium was pretty packed compared to this weekend, right? I mean,
and
you told me last year that kids were having to take off their Benfica stuff and throwing in the garbage and crying.
Yeah,
there was a far cry from that this time around, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to have a little bit of a reference to that also, because the one stand that was for Benfica fans, it was completely full. The central stand across from where the camera was filming, the top stand, there was no one there. No one. It's just one of those things that teams rather not sell tickets because they know they're going to end up in Benfica's hands than to have a stadium full of Benfica fans. And in reality, I would say that there's a large part of the population in Portugal, especially up north, that is Benfiquista. That's going to want to go to games.
But Alfredo, is it that? Because I had this conversation with you over the weekend, right? And I mentioned that exact. I'm like, I remember Alfredo kept sending me pictures and videos, and totally different last year.
Yeah.
Because you were actually sitting on that part that you're talking about.
Yes, we were.
Second level that was empty. And now everything was empty. And the question I had, and this is my observation, I said, that game you were with was right. It was the first game of the year. So in August, there's a lot of immigrants home. Everybody's home.
Yeah.
As to compare now. So do you think it's them not wanting to sell the tickets, or do you think that the demand is not there because a lot of the people that are going to pay those types of prices are coming in for a month on vacation and they weren't there this time around?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both. I think if there's no demand, they're not going to open that stand, especially from the home fans. And last year was the first game of the season, so there's a little bit of anticipation in terms of what the home team is going to show like. So maybe that brought in a lot of their fans, and now understanding everything that they went through last season and understanding also that they're pulling in juniors to play, perhaps the Boavista faithful are not on the wagon as much as they were last year. So maybe that's the explanation for it. But still, I mean, a club like Boavista, who's struggling financially, wouldn't it be better if they could open that stand to Benfiquistas and not just limit those tickets to be sold to home fans? To me, it's a financial decision that you have to make. I mean, screw that the stadium is going to be all red. I want money in our coffers.
To your own fans. That's what I was going to say. At this point, sell the tickets to your own fans at $5 a ticket. Who cares? Just get the place back.
Yeah.
And hopefully that motivates your squad. And $5 times 10,000 is a nice chump change. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of money for a team like Boavista.
Yeah.
I don't understand some of the thinking of these guys. I don't.
No, I don't either. But let me just talk about. We spoke briefly about Koksu. One of the things that Koksu brings that it didn't seem like we had a lot is the long range shot, right? And the second goal was an obvious long range, and I don't think the keeper saw the ball. Or you saw it late. But having a player that has that ability, now the way defense is set up is much different, right? Because now they have to come out and play the ball. If Koksu has the ball in front of the box and he is within range, they have to come out. And what that does, that now opens up the defense for him to play a through ball. Last year, not having much of that outside range from the players that were playing, teams were very comfortable just sitting in front of the box and just clogging up passing lanes. So I'm glad that Koksu brings that into the game. I know that Artur Koglu is somebody that also attempts from long range. I know Di Maria likes to attempt from long range, and last season was so frustrating sometimes watching this team and seeing how they would just dilly-dally in front of the box and the little 1-2s and to get intercepted, and nobody would let off a shot. So I'm happy. I'm happy that there's shots, and Amdouni is also a guy that has a long range and goes for long range.
You know what? I was shocked. Amdouni didn't hit the post this game, because that was something he done in the first two games, and I was like, I'm lucky, Dave, that they didn't take that bet, because I would have lost my money. Because I was willing to bet he would have hit the post for a third time. It's just something he seems like he likes to do.
Yeah, he let Pavlidis.
I'm being stupid right now.
He let Pavlidis hit the post, even though it was an offside, and that was that was one that he also turned his body, right? He turned his body, ended up hitting the upright, but Tomás Araújo was offside on that one. But yeah, a decent half from Benfica against the Boavista team that we saw has limitations. But the thing that annoyed me is that at certain times, Boavista was able to get up on the field and have some shots on Trubin's goal. And I mean, you're talking about a Boavista team that is probably going to be going down this season, or going to be in a very bottom of the table, and you don't have. I thought that there was something that was missing in Benfica's midfield, is missing a little bit of bite in terms of defending and preventing guys from passing the ball around the midfield and getting to the wings. I just felt that there was something that was missing in that midfield. I don't know if you guys saw the same, but
I mean, if there's a negative that you want to interject here, right? And I know I was going to keep it positive, but if there is a negative so far under these three games under Bruno Lage is Tino. I think Tino has left a lot to be desired. I think with the ball at his feet, he's doing exactly what he's done in previous years. He's not very good. You saw in this game, he tried to catch Carreras on the left, and he's just, with the ball at his feet, he hasn't taken the next step. But the one reason we all enjoyed watching him play is because he was able to, to intercept balls, get in all those passing lanes. I mean, so much so that his nickname was the Octopus, but I don't even think he's been that good recently. I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know what it is. But Tino, I would say, is the one negative, and hoping that he turns things around. Hoping that Lodge figures out a way to get him a little bit more comfortable at his feet. But it's just, in my view, in my eyes, it hasn't been pretty to watch. So far here.
Yeah, what I think is eventually, I think that Auschwitz is going to end up in that role because he just offers more. I don't know if he offers the same intensity and the same coverage as Tino defensively, but certainly in terms of having the ball at his feet, is a guy that does a lot better with the ball at his feet. Boris is saying here, Laj's games so far have been pre-Epka level, and I tend to agree with that because there's times that there's an intent to pass the ball, and I saw it, and I watched the game today. I saw it that there's a couple plays where the players are passing the ball without looking, because the expectation is that somebody is going to be there or is going to be making a run to get to that ball, and they're still a little bit out of sync in terms of the ball movement. Sometimes the ball is played behind the player also. The players are moving within those quadrants that Lage wants them to play in and to progress on the field. But I just think that sometimes there's a little bit of a sinking issue in terms of finding the guy or the guy being in the right place at the right time when the ball is played. So I think that I tend to agree with you, Boris, that Lage's game has been preseason because there's, especially in a final third, it's missing a little bit of sharpness at times. And I think that if we are a little bit sharper in the final third, we're able to create a lot more chances. The defense, somebody was saying that the defense is, Boris was also saying our defense is bad. Yeah, I don't think we have been as solid as we've seen them in the past. But again, new coach, new way of playing, new way of moving around the field, moving up the field, up and down the field, defensive transitions, offensive transitions, so whatnot. So there's a little bit. I'm glad that Lodge is having a little bit more time to work with the team with no European fixtures this week. So he's going to have a whole week to practice with the players and train with the players. So I'm looking forward to that. And look, I think it's encouraging. And I don't know if you're seeing, Dave, over the course of these 3 games, have you seen positive progress within the team?
I would definitely say more positive than negatives in these last 3 games. It continues to get better as each game goes on. Mind you, the talent that we're playing against has also been getting weaker and weaker, but I think the team's performance has also been getting better and better. Still not 100%, and I'm not expecting 100% like you mentioned. Lage really only had 2 days to prepare the team coming out of international break against Santa Clara. Then he has a couple of days. Then they got to go to Serbia, fly home from Serbia, and then head up north. Where now from Monday till Saturday, you've basically got 5 days on the training pitch to get some systems in place, get some players accustomed to these tactics and working with each other. So baby steps. We got to remember how dreadful we started the season and how much of a drag it was to sit down and watch this team attempt to play football. So positive steps in the right direction, and it can only get better from here.
Yeah. Red Baron's saying exactly what you just said. The man has had only few practices, play, recover, play, which is, he himself had mentioned that right now he's just trying to find time with the team to be able to really consolidate those ideas. So, but it is what it is. It's encouraging some of the progress that I've seen so far, and I think that the team will continue to progress. I think we have an international break around the corner, Dave.
After next weekend, we play Atletico, and then I believe Nacional, and then it's another break.
Yeah. So the second half in the 71st.
And then there's another break in November.
Yeah.
Yep. So second half, 71st minute, Amdouni came in for a Turkoglu. 73rd minute, there was a penalty on Di Maria that wasn't called. 78th minute, Barreiro and Prestiana came in for Auschwitz and Di Maria. In the 88th minute, Artur Cabral and Cabore came in for Pavlidis and Araújo, and Cabral would eventually get Benfica's third goal in a 90-plus play that he bodied. He basically bodied the Boavista defender, and it was able to sneak in there. It was a typical Cabral goal, using his body to gain position on the defender, and then just putting it away to the far side. So it's good to see.
He got his foot in there, Alfredo.
Yeah,
the ball was bouncing. He got his foot. It wasn't a body. It was his foot. He was sneaky with that foot.
Yeah, but he was able to.
He brought it to his chest and brought it down, and then he tucked it the opposite. I don't even think it was opposite, right? But he tried to. He went three toes.
Yeah,
but that's him, bro. My man's maybe conform. He's been hungry lately.
Okay,
you could tell.
I said last week, and let's not write him off just yet. This guy's
no.
Hey, this is what I'm gonna say. Bruno Lage made Seferovic the top league's goal scorer. This guy's the ugly duckling whisperer. So if he can get Seferovic to be top scorer, let's not write off Cabral just yet.
Yeah, and
you're just trying to justify why you bought that 14 jersey. That's all it is.
No, and look, I think that that Lages mentioned that it was a clean slate. It was a clean slate for every player, and I'm sure he's communicated that to everyone. And I think that Cabral is just. He's waiting for his opportunity, and when he gets the opportunity, he wasn't on the field for too long. He was on the field for a total of 3 minutes, and able to score. I mean, that shows that he has confidence and that he's working towards a spot on the team. I just think that Cabral is different from Pavlidis in terms of the way they play. Cabral is more of a box guy, while Pavlidis likes to move around. But certainly, another win. 3 points for Benfica. It was Benfica's first away win. I don't know if I took that stat away from you, Dave. This season domestically. What other numbers do you have on this game, Dave?
Foxu with his third goal of the season. Last season, it took him 33 games to score his third, and he's already got 3 and 7 to start off the season. And Artuglu with 2 goals and 2 assists in his first 3 games with the club. I like what I'm seeing from the Turkish Rafa, as I called him last week.
Turkish Rafa. Chris, what's your opinion on Artur Koglu? Are you sold on him? Are you convinced he's a player?
I like what I've seen from him so far. You know what I mean? I think he's sneaky. I think he has that pace that we all talk about so much, but at the same time, I also think he could create a little bit, which is something we severely need. We need players that create on their own. And one thing I think I know Hugo and guys like that are gonna kill me, and you too, Alfredo, in private. But like the one thing I've liked so far about him is that grittiness. You know what I mean? He's a pesky little SOB. You know what I'm saying? And I like that, and which was the thing that I talked about way back when David Neres left and Benfica acquired Artur Kuglu, which was Neres is a much better, skillful player, a lot more Ginga, but this guy will be more noticeable. And I said the same thing about Amdoui, if I'm not mistaken, which is even when bad games, these guys will affect the game because they're going to bring, their work rate. And I've seen that so far from Artur Kuglu, and I like it. I like what I've seen, and I think Benfica is in the right path. And please give me more players like this with enough skill and enough work rate to make the difference, rather than the ones that just walk around all day, unless you're next level.
Yeah, I'm definitely impressed by his work rate, and especially his work rate on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, if you guys recall, against Red Star, Lage had the presence of mind to switch him to the right side because Cabore was getting beat left and right on the right side of Benfica's defense. So Lage had the heads up of, okay, well, I'm going to switch Di Maria to the left and I'm going to bring Artur Koglu to the right. And with his defensive efforts, he was able to kind of stop what was going on that right side of Benfica's defense. So he's a guy that, yes, he has the work rate going up front, with the movement, with the runs, with taking players on, but also defensively, which is something that Neres didn't have, right? At least from what I've seen so far, that Artur Koglu brings to this team and his efforts on the defensive side of the ball. So kudos to him.
But sticking to my disappointment of the day, right? Sticking with my criticism, as I pointed out so far today. Disappointed he didn't finish that chip over the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
That could have easily been 3-0.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I said, "There's no way this guy's gonna miss this," and he did. So I was a little bit disappointed. I thought he should have buried that one. I was expecting him to bury that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Carlos saying Di Maria is still playing 30 minutes too many. I thought that with 2-0 and with the options that you have with both Rollheiser and Prestiani being able to play on that right side, I mean, there's no reason why Di Maria should go deeper than 70 minutes. I think, especially when the score is out of the way, and you bring somebody that could also help you on the defensive side as well as the offensive side of the ball. But yeah, look, those are decisions by Lage. But I'm hoping that he's able to manage him a little better. So a good performance by Benfica, just building up on the results that we've had so far. But with, like I said, still some lack of sharpness in a final third. And like I said, first away win for the season. Dave, did you already mention stats on this game so we can move forward?
Yeah, we already recapped it.
Okay. So for you guys that don't know, the Portuguese Cup draw that include the bigger teams just took place. I believe it was today, and Benfica drew Pavide, a team from Guimarães that plays in the fourth level of Portugal.
Third, Alfredo. I looked them up. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Okay,
I'm sorry if I'm wrong.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, right? So, Chris, Primeira Liga, Segunda Liga, Liga 3, and Campeonato de Portugal, which is where they're at.
Fourth.
Oh.
I thought it was the third level too, and then I went and saw the different divisions. So, Primeira Liga, Segunda Liga, Liga 3, and then Campeonato de Portugal, which has the different divisions throughout the country.
Yeah.
They're a team that hails out of Guimarães, and I think that the game is scheduled for between the 18th or the 20th of October, if I'm not mistaken. And their president already mentioned.
Is it the 19th?
They already got that date too, at the 19th.
They got the 19th.
Yeah, I thought you mentioned the 19th. Yeah.
Yeah, so their president already came out saying that they were going to play at the Afonso Henriques because their stadium doesn't have the security conditions to be able to host a crowd that large. So I mean, look, at the end of the day,
that's good. That's good. They're making money.
They're making money.
It's a bigger stadium. It's a bigger field for Benfica. It's better. Obviously, when you go into these little stadiums and teams that play in third, fourth division, whatever you want to call it, right? Their stadiums are going to be smaller. The field's not going to be as wide and as long. So they're going to play in a first division stadium with first division width and first division length, which in the end, in my opinion, helps out the bigger teams, helps out Benfica.
No doubt.
It's not a bad thing.
No doubt. And look, in terms of financial, I think at the end of the day, you still need to rent out the stadium at Guimarães, so you have to relinquish some of that money. But here's the thing, and maybe for the romantics, right? Because the league does say that the first round in which the larger teams are involved, you have to go to the lower team's stadium, right? So for the romantics in there, and Chris, you and I kind of fall within this category where we remember where Benfica was playing in Pelados. Straight sand, no grass, and these rounds of the Portuguese Cup. Yeah. So I would love to see Benfica just go to a stadium like that. I do understand that there's security concerns and all, but I think that just watching a game like that, and I think that from what I remember, there was times that.
But they played last year, Alfredo. They played at a park. It seemed like a park in Azul.
Yeah,
Okay, that's right. That was Interceda, I believe.
Interceda. You're right.
Yeah.
You remember that? They looked like they were playing in the national park over there. I don't know.
And I
like
love that. There's
all over.
there's
Good,
no
good drainage system.
there's
right,
no
Chris?
wall, right? There's no wall. There's only a rope.
Dave.
I remember watching Benfica play against these lower teams where there was no wall. There was only a rope holding fans back from being on the
Yeah,
field.
but Alfredo, that was in the 80s, bro.
Right.
That hasn't been late. I mean, one of the crazy things I remember was when Pizzi was still here. We were still at Benfica, and we went on a road, and they had to bring in the stands and build the stands.
Yeah.
You guys remember? I think Benfica only won like 1-0, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Monteverde, something like that. One of those teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the, it's fun. It's the fun part of the game. It's, these little teams get to stuff their bank accounts when these big teams are coming through. The fans, the town, everybody gets excited. But look, if you don't have the conditions, I don't blame a team like what's Providence, whatever his name is. I don't blame them for wanting to. Yeah, but it's Providence. That's the name of the team, man.
Providence Sport Club.
I thought it was Providence. I don't know what the hell I was looking at today on Wikipedia. But yeah, it's cool, bro. They make more money, more fans come in. They play in a beautiful stadium. A lot of those players probably have never played in a stadium like the Ponce Enrique.
Yeah.
So look, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and their president says that he's a huge supporter of Vitória Guimarães. So he said I'd be very proud if we played there. So we'll see. So that's how Benfica will start the Portuguese Cup against Providence Sport Club, a team that hails out of Guimarães. Next up for Benfica comes up this weekend. Gil Vicente at Estádio Luz, Saturday 8:30 local. What's Gil Vicente up to, Dave?
They're currently in ninth with 7 points from 1 win, 4 draws, 1 defeat, which came against Porto to open up the season. Historically, 38 wins, 7 draws, 6 defeats against Gil Vicente. Our last 10, 8 wins, 2 draws. Last 5 at the Estádio da Luz, 3 wins, 2 defeats.
Yeah. So another
Wasn't Gil Vicente, if I'm not mistaken, is my memory messed up, but wasn't Gil Vicente the team that beat Lage in his last game at Estádio da Luz?
No. It was
last game was away, I believe, at Marítimo.
Yes.
The first time around.
Yes.
But they did contribute. He was part of
he was like
that
10 in a row, right?
Spell.
10 in a row that he didn't win.
They were part of that debacle there at the end.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. I think, again, you guys mentioned Marítimo on the road. I sit at home, though, at the Estádio da Luz, if I'm not mistaken.
At home at Estádio da Luz, I think I mentioned that last podcast. If I recall correctly. Let me see.
Okay, then I'm messing that up. Like
you might be right, Chris. I'm bringing up that season.
Last game at home was a loss versus Santa Clara, 4-3.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, Santa Clara. Okay.
And his debut was against Rio Ave in a game that we won 4-2 after being down 2-0. So yeah, I did mention that because I remember looking it up. And I thought it was a perfect segue, right? Because his last game was loss against Santa Clara, and his first game was against Santa Clara, his first game back. So, yeah, Gil Vicente.
Real quick, Alfredo.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to read some comments, but go ahead. Gil Vicente, and we'll read some comments after. Go ahead. So.
Yeah, no, Gil Vicente's, they've only won one game and lost another game and tied the rest of the game. So it's a little team with a lot of fight in them. I'm thinking that Benfica carries the momentum in Estádio da Luz. I think that the fans are starting to get behind this team. We saw the outpour of support at the Bessa. The game against Santa Clara, we had over 60,000 at Estádio da Luz, and I think that the fans are starting to get behind this team and starting to like what they see in terms of the product that's being put on the field. There's some exciting players. There's exciting play. So I think that Stade Luge will be a fortress for Benfica, as it should be this season. Chris, go ahead and read some comments, bro.
No, but termina ahí.
No, I mean I don't have
say.
much to say about Gil Vicente. I just think that it's going to be a tricky game for Benfica, and I hope that the team doesn't start looking past Gil Vicente at the Atletico Madrid game for the Champions League, which happens on Wednesday. So I think that the team needs to be focused on this Gil Vicente and get another 3 points, because I don't think we have much margin for error. We're 5 points behind Sporting. There's not much more error that we could afford, or more points that we could lose. So it need to win against Gil Vicente and then worry about Atletico.
We'll be doing another podcast before the game on Wednesday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or will we do a podcast Wednesday after the Atletico Madrid game and then cover both games?
We'll do one on Tuesday.
Because you know what's gonna happen. Game's Wednesday, then we got a podcast Tuesday. I'm gonna have to rewatch everything again, bro.
Vamos pensar nisso, man. Maybe we do it Wednesday night, and like you said, Chris, cover 2 games. So we'll think about that, and we'll put it out on X. Let everybody know. Hey, Chris, read some comments from the Freddies.
I just wanted to mention Mr. Adam Wynn once again. He said I have to drop off now, but we'll catch up with the rest of the podcast later. Great to finally be here live. My man, o que passou?
Tiago.
Let's go Benfica, porra. Adam Wynn, enjoy Thailand. No, that was Boris. Just saying hi. I listen to you guys offline. It's 4 a.m. here in Sweden now. I mean, today, I don't know what happened. Everybody, all of a sudden, Benfica starts winning, and everybody comes out of the buracos. Everybody, they're even tuning into the Benfica podcast from all over the world. But thanks you guys nonetheless for tuning in and keeping us companies. What else? Well, Jason Gaidola says they played in Terceira. That's the one we were referencing earlier, and he said, love the small venue visits. Carlos Amor says, I remember being at the Luz in the late 70s. Champions League game versus Liverpool. Estimated 120K at the Luz, but only 90,000 fit in the rain. Awful experience. Okay. I figured it'd be something you remember for the rest of his life, which he obviously has, but not in a good way. SOBE says we haven't won a Taça in years. I would love to bring that thing home, which is a fact, man. I mean, it's despicable that Benfica hasn't won many more of these many more of these Taças than we have. I think 4 in the last 30 years, which is just, for a club like Benfica, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then Red Baron says I went to Salgueiros Benfica at
Paranhos
in the 80s, but I can't. Paranhos, okay.
Paranhos,
in the late 80s, I need my glasses. Got crushed to death in that small stadium, he says.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, one of the legendary clubs from Porto, Salgueiros, which is no longer. They're defunct now. I think that there's a.
They're still playing. I just had to.
No, it's a reincarnation, Dave. But they went away for a few years. But this is a reincarnation. It's not. But the
they're back.
Club,
I do remember Salgueiros Penafiel, all those teams as a little kid, and Penafiel was in the first division not too long ago.
I think they're top of the league in the second division, if I'm not mistaken. Penafiel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Boris is saying once Rui Costa is gone, we will win the Taça again. Speaking of Rui Costa, I didn't have a chance to watch his interview where he explained the summer window. I've yet to watch that, but from what I read, no earth-shattering things there. Just a different or same discourse as always from Rui Costa. But anyway, that's all we got. 59. Time to say goodbye to our friends at Pama Media. Dave, Always a pleasure having a chance to speak to them. What else can we talk about? Not much else. I didn't watch the Rui Costa. Did you watch the Rui Costa
Jason
interview?
is asking.
Chris? Or no?
Come again?
Did you watch the Rui Costa interview explaining?
No, but I did have a conversation with a couple of people about it. And look, man. Look, everybody I've spoken to pretty much didn't have positive things to say about this whole interview. And
Yeah.
not to defend anyone here, but as I said, what do you expect the guy to say? I mean, honestly, what do you think interviews are going to be like? What do you expect the guy to say? He's not going to come here and undress any players that left or any players that arrived. He's not going to undress the Contas. He's not going to undress himself. It's just, look, man, he has to do this because it's part of the job. He has to try to come out with an explanation. And I really don't watch these things. I don't waste my time in these things because I don't get anything new or any useful information out of these things. I understand he has to do it, but I really don't expect to learn something that's really going to change my mind on what happened, on what not, or what didn't happen. It is what it is, man. Look, João Neves is gone. He's not coming back. We all would have liked to get more, but again, Portuguese teams are not in a position to reject these large sums of money. We understand Benfica's finances are not the best, but he's not going to come out there and point the finger at himself. So to me, it's just a waste of time. Yeah. I get it. He has to do it, and I understand people have to cover it, and you guys want to talk about it. But in my honest opinion, I really don't pay much attention to these things.
Yeah. No, I read some things. Jason Gaidola said he mentioned about Neres and Marcos Leonardo, and basically Neres showed signs of a non-starter. I did read that he said that there was some inconsistency in terms of Neres' performance. I don't buy that. I mean, I still think that the guy is a great player. Yes, I mean there was times that he didn't play his best, but certainly it was when he was on. He was a guy that was almost unplayable. But those were far in between. I mean, we didn't see long stretches of Neres doing that, but it's still a guy that offers you a threat. And let's not forget that his preferred position is on the right, and Di Maria was there though basically the whole year. So it is what it is. I read some things, and Red Baron is saying that the interesting interview with this Luis Mendes, which I saw that I think an interview to Record, and Luis Mendes was the guy that was picked to replace Domingos Soares Oliveira, which is basically Benfica's CFO, or the guy that's in charge of Benfica's finances. And I think not too long after his appointment, he ended up stepping down because he had diverged from what was going on in the structure. I haven't read that interview. I don't know how telling that is or how revealing that is, but he did have something to say that if Rui Costa went against Vieira tomorrow, that he would probably lose.
He didn't just say Vieira. He said if he'd go to elections tomorrow, he'd lose.
Yeah,
and that includes Vieira. And he didn't. He said he'd lose to anyone, and that includes Vieira. So.
Yeah, and Red Baron is adding some more commentary here. He addressed why he didn't fire Roger Schmidt in June and waited until September. Address why everyone that leaves the Direção says he's not a leader. He's not a leader and can't make tough decisions. He's talking about Rui Costa, obviously. Boris is also saying loads of commissions to family and friends. Yeah, I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, there's so much that that we don't know that happens in the background, and that the club is not necessarily forced to put out. But maybe one day, if we get an honest guy in there and cleans house and looks at all the books, is able to expose everything that has been done from the Vieira years and now these years, but. It is what it is. I think at the end of the day, when the team is winning, people tend to forget the mistakes that have been done, money that has been spent, the contas, which again were on the red. Pasivu getting up there. It hasn't been pretty in terms of leadership and the SAD and the structure and whatnot. And I just hope that people don't lose sight of that, of what's going on, extra football, because when the team is winning, people tend to forget everything and just worry about that. So that's all I got. I don't know if you guys have anything else. One thing that I wanted to say, the Asamblea took place this past weekend, and they were voting on a statutes of the club. So basically, the bylaws, if you will, of the club. And I think the general bylaw was approved, but then there were specific items that they needed to vote on. And I think that one of the items that come out was that the emblem. They're not going to allow monochrome emblems anymore. That was one of the things that was voted into the law. The other thing is that Benfica's away the alternative uniform is always going to be white. The third one could be cor de burro quando foge, or whatever other colors, pink, yellow, whatever. But the second uniform for Benfica is always going to be white, and I support that. I think there was another one that was spoke about the emblem, right? Because there's a big conversation about the emblem. The eagle should be holding
the scarf.
It's like a banner almost.
Should be holding the scarf.
Yeah, it's like a banner almost, and not the wheel of the bicycle. So there was a couple of those things for the purists, right? Which I agree. But it turned sour at some point with the president of the assembly resigning mid-assembly, and somebody having to take over. So it wasn't without controversy, but I think overall, I thought that fans were happy with the outcome. They have to go back a couple more times to finish the voting, to go through these specific bullet points that are connected to the bylaws of the club. So it was interesting. It was interesting because it was calm at one point, then chaotic, then it got back to calm. Rui Costa stepped up and said, "No, let's continue with this assembly, with this general assembly." So it was interesting. If you guys want to find out a little bit more, and if you hear Portuguese or comprehend Portuguese, go on the Benfica Independent, and there's a recap there in terms of what happened in the assembly. So which is interesting. So Red Baron says, "Good riddance to that incompetent Fernando Seara." Agreed. What else we got here? Should we read some more comments and then leave? SLBEES, Benfica is ours and will always be ours. Keep the dirty oil guys in Russia or Middle East. I know somebody would argue with that. Carl Zamar says, to be fair, I'm not privy to Benfica's ledger, but I'm familiar with credit leverage mechanisms. Still, I'm sure skimming and practically cultural, not Rui Costa, but downstream. Yeah, it's possible. Red Baron says the eagle needs to touch the banner, not the wheel. Yeah, that is the law. I think that's all we got. Cristiano, you ready to go?
To sleep, maybe.
Yeah, diz goodbye aos nossos amigos, então.
Goodbye, nossos amigos. Thanks you all for tuning in. Appreciate all the new Freddies joining us. Make sure you smash the like button. And next week we'll be back for more, man.
That's
Hopefully
right.
we'll be talking about 2 more impressive victories. But at least it's a brighter conversation. It's a lot nicer to come on this podcast today. Dave doesn't talk as much. I apologize for that.
Dave is
I
yawning.
talk a whole lot
sleepy.
of gibberish, but it's much more positive.
Yeah, for sure.
I was thinking about all the times that I had to come on here and defend Roger Schmidt and how much of a job and workout that was. Jesus, it was Now you take those little things for granted now watching this new team under Lage. How simple these changes that could have been made that Roger could have made to get us back on track, but it never did. So done defending the guy.
Yeah.
I'm just thankful we don't see a Tino Barreiro double pivot anymore. That's what I'm thankful for.
Knock on wood.
I think we saw that in the later stages of the Red Star game, if I'm not mistaken. Right? We did see Barreiro and Tino on the field at the same time.
And we still struggle to defend, so go figure.
Go figure. All right, everybody. Thanks for checking us out, and thanks for keeping us company in the chats. Thank you for all the Freddies that were out in the force. Let's keep this momentum. Next week, let's have a full chat again, man. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of the week, and be good to each other. Take care.